This video is the continuation of the previous video where we were talking about the memory passage, how internet affects memory. We've already gone through the passage in the previous video. We know what is the overall idea. We already have done the main purpose question based on the overall idea of the passage. Now we're going to do question number 12 and further in this video. Let's move on from question number 12. Which choice best supports the idea that reliance on computers does not necessarily diminish human memory? So what do we know? Which example tell you that it does not necessarily diminish human memory? It doesn't weaken human memory. Human memory stays and then the computers stay at their own place. That's what we have to prove. Now let's look at these lines. Line number 3 to 6. Do we talk about anything like that there? Harvard professor of psychology Daniel's recent research proves that website and the internet are changing much more than technology itself. Did it talk anything about human memory? No, it did not. So if I don't talk about it, then option A goes out easily. 31 to 33. Let's see. Wegner points out that we never have to stretch our memory too far to remember the name of an obscure movie actor or capital of Kyrgyzstan. We just type our question into Google. So are we here talking about our memory not weakened? It is rather indicating that, oh, you don't need your memory. Yeah, so no, we cannot choose this also because we have to choose an answer which says that our memory and computer memory both are good. See, 66 to 68. Here, students who have trouble remembering distinct fact, for example, may struggle to employ those facts in critical thinking. Okay, so students have some problem here. We have to say that our memory is still good. So we don't have to talk about students who have trouble remembering anything. We have to say that everybody can remember everything. Let's look at the last one, 72 to 75. And even though we may not be taxing our memory to recall distinct facts, it says we may not be taxing our memory. May not. That means if given, we will be able to, but we may not. We are still using them. We're still using memory. Next part says to consider where the facts are located and how to access them. So this part says that our memory is still useful. Why is our memory useful? Because if our memory doesn't exist, then how will we know how to ask computer where the information is? So which choice best supports the idea that reliance on computers does not necessarily diminish human memory? This line where we talk about our memory telling where in the computer memory is the answer located. Okay, so D is the correct answer. Let's move on to the 13th question now. In context, the reference to remembering a relative's birthday mainly serves to. So because we've already skimmed through the passage, we should know where were we talking about this birthday part. So question says mainly serves to. That means why is this birthday example given? Now, if you go back to the passage, initially we were not talking about our memory at all. We started talking about it and giving examples about it somewhere over here. First, we only talked about internet and everything. So let's see. Transitive memory, then okay. So let's see what's the example for transactive memory given to us. Exist in many forms. What are the many forms? As when a husband relies on wife to remember relative's birthday. So here is where my answer should be allocated, somewhere near. Okay, let's go to the question again. Question asked, in reference to remembering relative's birthday, mainly serves to. So this reference serves what? What does it show? When I said that husband relies on wife memory to remember the birthday. It says, just let's read one more line. It is this whole network of memory where you don't have to remember everything in the world yourself. You just have to remember who knows it. So you see, your memory is playing a role. You know that your wife knows when is the birthday. You're not remembering the birthday, but you are remembering that wife knows the birthday. Yes, let's see. What is the closest answer to this? Show that people who closely related tend to have shared memory. Were we talking about shared memory, and do we know that husband and wives are closely related? Is that given by the passage? They are closely related is in your mind, not given by the passage. And we were talking about transactive memory, not shared memory. Okay. Next, demonstrate how people initially developed external source of memory. How are we talking about external source of memory? So what, husband has a memory, wife has a memory. Both have their memory. It's not like husband is saying, wife, you are my external memory. It's not husband's memory. It is wife's memory. Husband knows that in his memory that I have to ask wife if I want to ask for birthday. Okay, let's look at next. Emphasize the effectiveness and accuracy of transactive memory sources. Okay, we are talking about transactive memory, correct? So we'll come back to option C. Illustrate the concept of a transactive memory source using a familiar situation. Why are we given this is the question. Why are we talking about relative's birthday? What does it serve? Mainly serves to. Does it serve to illustrate the concept of transactive memory? I'm explaining transactive memory using a situation that we probably have seen, or I'm talking about it because I want to emphasize the effectiveness and accuracy. Now, so husband said, wife, you remember. Okay. Now, wife tells that birthday is on 29th of February, but the birthday was on 28th of February. So, do we know the accuracy of memory? We don't. All we know is that husband told wife, you should remember, and wife said, okay. No, we don't know about the accuracy or effectiveness, and hence B is the correct answer. Although in C we are talking about transactive memory, we are not talking about accuracy and effectiveness. Yes, so D is the answer here. Let's look at question number 14 now. So I'm assuming that when I say move to question 13, move to question 14, you're pausing the video, you're solving it yourself, and then you're looking at the explanation. And if you're not, please do so. Let's read question 14. Based on the information in the passage, which of the following would be considered a transactive memory source? Now, we know transactive memory source from the previous question and this particular line that we have read. If you know what is it, only then you should solve the question. Yes, let's see. A souvenir brought home from a memorable trip. So, the entire thing you got yourself. So, where are you saving anything? Yes, there was a trip. You got a souvenir from there. You have to remember the souvenir. You don't have to bring it along. Bringing it along will be like a pen drive memory, not the memory which is transactive memory. So A goes away. B says a written list of users' passwords for different website. Now, user wants all the information from website. So the information is there in the website. But in order to access those websites, you need a password. Now, those passwords have been saved by the user. So that is a transactive memory. So a written list. Now, user will have to remember that I wrote the list and the list is somewhere. But I don't have to remember all the passwords. Yes, I am relying on a transactive memory, on this list. List is my transactive memory. Yes. So keep B. Let's read C and D also. A library database that helps users locate specific books. Okay, so many of my students select option C, that in order to find the books, I don't have to remember where are the books, the database will tell. But transactive memory was that now in the database, you have to feed the information. So it should not, a transactive memory should not be that it's already feed it. You have to do it. And that's why it cannot be C. D says a website that helps users plan and make travel arrangement. So website is doing all the work. It should be the other way, that I have planned and then I am putting it into the website. That's transactive memory. Okay, so from all of these, if you see, only in case of B, I was able to remember the password. It's possible, but I'm saving it in my transactive memory. I'm making a list of it, yes, instead of remembering it myself. In all the other options, I was either not able to get the direct source in A or in C and D. I mean, it's there, the information is there, but would you ask yourself, would you ever be able to remember all the books available in the library anyways? You know, so if there are, let's say, 5,000 books, you won't remember all of them anyway. So it's not like it's helping you find something that you would remember yourself. It's helping you finding something which is supposed to be done by this. It's not supposed to be remembered by you or the travel plan ones. So website is helping. Users are making plans, so you should have made plan, and then you would go to the website and you will arrange the things. It should not be that the website is telling you do this, do this, do this. When if the website is telling you, then it's not your plan, right? It is not something that you would memorize. Okay, so our question was transactive memory, and what is transactive memory? A memory that um, you would have known yourself, but you instead chose to give it to somebody else and say, like, you remember. I would have remembered the birthday myself, but I said, no, I don't want to take that burden. So I'll tell my husband, you remember the birthday. Yeah, so that's transactive memory, which is closest to option B and not any other. Okay. Let's look at the next question. Oh, vocab and context question, usually the easier ones. As used in line 26, extension of most nearly means what? Let's see. So extension could mean anything which is not long or in like or of these or length, addition, anything. But in this question, what is the extension talking about? Let's go to 26 and find out. Now, computers and technology as well are becoming virtual extension of our memory. So we're talking about extension of our memory. That means our memory is not just limited to our memory, it is more than our memory. So over there also it is our memory. Yes. So would it mean delay in our memory? No. How is it delay? It's just like we have a memory, which is let's say 100%, and we have more memory, which is 150% or 200%. So it's the addition of more. So a computer is in addition to our memory. Our memory exists in and adding to our memory, computer memory exists. Yes, it's not the length because we don't know what is the length. We're not saying that computer memory is like 11 kilometers or it's not development because it's not like we are increasing our inside memory. It's addition because the memory is not inside us, it's not with us. It is we have some set of information and the other set of information is virtually available. Okay, let's look at question number 16 now. The discussion of the experiments suggests that people are inclined to think of specific information source in response to being what? It's a suggest question, which means it's not directly written. It is inferred somewhere. So discussion of experiments, 4 experiments were there. Those discussions suggest that people are inclined to think of specific information sources in response to being what's happening with the people. So we have read those 4 points very carefully. Let's see. Required to memorize details that will then be made inaccessible. So if I tell you memorize all of it and then you cannot access it, is this what my experiment wanted to say? That people are inclined to think of specific information sources. There is my source. If that source itself is inaccessible, no. If it is inaccessible, I will just remember the detail. Why will I remember the source? Yes. Let's look at next. Directed to develop a system for organizing and saving content. So once again, look at the question. I'm inclined to think of the specific information source. Where in specific information source means where is that information stored? Yes, I am trying to remember it if I'm directed to develop a system for organizing and saving content. No, if it is already saved and I have to go and fetch information and tell you the information? Yes. So not B. C. I will think of specific source information if asked to provide facts that are not already familiar to them. If I don't know the fact, if there is something that I am aware of, I will tell the answer. If I am not aware of, I will think of where is the answer. This information, this is where the answer should be. Let me find it out from there. Okay, next. So C could be the answer, but let's look at D also. Prompted to identify terms related to dependence on computers. Identify terms related to computers. Only that? No, not really. It's more than this. Any information that um, we do not know, we want the computer to tell us that information. It's not the computer related information only that we are looking forward to. Let's go back to the passage once and check this particular part. So we know that here, this part was talking about our information sources and all the examples, all the experiments, sorry. Here, in the first experiment, participants demonstrated that they were more likely to think of computer terms like Google or Yahoo after being asked a set of difficult trivial questions. So if difficult questions were asked, difficult trivial question means that the questions that they are not aware of. If they are asked, what do these people do? They look for Google or Yahoo. This is what they tend to think, and that is exactly what our question also said, that if you are inclined to think of some specific information source, means you don't know the information, what do? You ask um, you ask for computer terms. If you are asked to provide facts you don't know, you look for the specific information sources such as Google or Yahoo. Okay, so that's why option C is the correct answer here. Now, if you see, question number 16 and 17 are dependent on each other. In our previous video, we did both these type of questions together. I told you how to solve the evidence question along with the previous question, whichever question it is then. Yes. In this one, we're doing it independently. Now, in both the ways you do, you should make sure that you get the correct answer and which makes you more comfortable. I still suggest that you should do both of them together. But just to teach you, I did this question as a standalone question. Okay, now let's look at this. Which choice provides the best evidence for this question's answer? Let's look at these lines. So we know that the answer is here, C. In case you've done this and then you go back to these lines and none of these lines actually come back to answer C, that means you have chosen incorrect answer in the previous one. So feel free to change this answer based on these lines then. Okay. Let's see. So it says line 42 to 45 is telling you this information. Line 42 to 45 is here. This one, the one we just read. That in the first experiment, all of this happened. And this is what gave us the answer. So we could have easily chosen option A. But let's read others also. Let's see what are the others saying. 48 to 51. 48 is here. Ostracized is bigger than its brain. Half the subject were told that their work would be saved in computer, other half were informed that statement will be erased. This part is also talking about the experiment, but this is not talking about the experiment where the people do not know what's the information, or it's not even any information source. It is saying that there is no information source. But in our question, we were given that we have a specific information source. Okay, so we cannot choose this one. 51 to 53 here. In subsequent memory testing, participants who were told their work would not be saved were best at recalling the statement. Now, if the work will not be saved, that means once again I don't have information source. So option goes away. I need to have the information source because that's what the question is saying. 59 to 61. Let's read 59 to 61 now. The participants proved better able to recall the folder location than the statements themselves. So this is a comparison between will I remember the statement or will I remember the folder source. So Could be because I have a specific information source, which is folder source in this case. But it doesn't go with any of the above options then. If D were to be the correct, it has to match with something that ABCD will also say. You know, that because I have one sentence and I have one folder name, so instead of sentence, I know the folder. But that kind of sentence is not provided in ABCD. This C provides us to provide facts that are not already familiar to them, which is over here. Here the facts are not already familiar. Over here the fact is already familiar. Yeah, we know the fact, but none of the options says we know the fact. And that's why for 16th it's C, but for 17th it's A. Let's look at the next question. Again, vocab and context question. Employ most nearly means. Go to line 67, pause over there, ask yourself what is it, come back, check if you've got the correct answer. 67, employ. Students who have trouble remembering distinct facts, for example, may struggle to employ those facts in critical thinking. So I cannot employ, I can't have those in my critical thinking, is what the question said over here. So what am I not able to do it? I'm not able to, so I am not able to get it into myself. I can't employ it in my critical thinking, means I cannot have those in my critical thinking. That means I cannot use it in my critical thinking. Utilize. Not that I can't enroll. It's not literally getting the thoughts and putting them, like literally putting them or exert or assign. It's more like I can't utilize the facts. So in some questions, if you put this word over there instead of employ, you will find that the sentence makes perfect sense. Okay. 18th is utilize. If in any of these questions, we have two more to do. If in any of these questions you feel that you need more explanation, please feel free to meet me on a one-on-one class and then we can discuss those further. Okay, let's look at question number 19. According to the graph question, approximately what percentage of participants remembered both part of the information given to them during the fourth experiment? Fourth experiment in the graph. So let's go to the graph. Let's see what does the graph have to say. Graph says result of experiment 4. Okay, this is 4. Memory of statement at folder location. So let's see. This is the percentage. Remember the statement how many? Over here. Somewhere like between 17% or so. Remember statement in not folder? Somewhere around 10%. Remember folder location not statement? Somewhere around 30%. Remember nothing? A lot of people remember nothing. Yeah. Okay. Going back to the question. So my question wanted, of all of those 4, what percentage of participants remember both part of information? I have to find out how many remember both part of information. Where is both part? Remember statements, not the folder. Remember folder, not the statement. Both of them have one thing. But over here, remember statement and folder. Both the things. Who remembered between 15 to 20? This one, around 17. Which option tells us around 17? This one. So C is the correct answer in this case. Yes? Easy question? Okay, next question. Based on the description of Wigner's fourth experiment, again this is the fourth one, what is the most likely explanation for the findings for the largest single group of participants represented in graph? What is the largest one represented in graph? This. Somebody who remembers nothing is given in the graph. Now, in our fourth experiment here, do we have anything about people who remember nothing in the fourth experiment? So it says in other two experiments, all of this happened. Half people said this, half in subsequent memory, all this happened. In the fourth experiment, so what happened in the fourth experiment according to passage? Participants typed into a computer statements they were told would be saved in specific folder. They were asked to recall the statement. Finally, they were given the clues. The participants proved better able to recall the folder location than the statements themselves. So I know the folder location is the fourth experiment according to the passage. Did it anywhere say anything about my last graph, the biggest one, this one, that I can't remember anything? No, it did not. So that means my answer has to be something which is not to do with, which says that no, nothing is given. A. Those participants focused on remembering the folder location. This is what the passage says. And many people choose this, but the graph did not say that. Next, those participants attempted to remember the statements and folder location. Both the things? No, they did not. Those participants did not attempt to remember any specific piece of information. This is what the graph says, but the passage did not say that. There is not enough information to determine the cause and result of those participants. Do we have information to find out anything about the tallest graph? No, we don't. Hence, B is the correct answer here. So don't get carried away by options that are given in the passage to you, because the entire thing is about passage. This particular question is a mix of graph and passage. If you see only graph, you would want to choose this one. If you see only passage, you would want to choose this one. But the correct answer is D, because there is no information in the passage that aligns very well with the graph. Okay. So for now, we keep till here. We will solve more questions, and I will keep uploading videos here. Feel free to meet me on a one-on-one session if there is any doubt, and if you have solved anything yourself, you want more clarity over there. The more you practice, the higher your score will be. All the best. Thank you for watching video from Think Global.